How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse, and today I'm here with JT and Patrick. These are two of the main guys behind the new adidas Supernova Rise. Now, Adidas has been coming in hot the past few years. The adizero line have some of my favorite shoes on the race side, but I've just been waiting for that technology to trickle on over into the daily training space. And I think we might have something a little magical here with the Supernova Rise. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration with this shoe and how it all began?
Absolutely, and thanks Connor for having us. It's great being here. So I think it started with a reset that we did a couple of years ago around who are our consumers, who are we actually serving? And we recognize that we're serving consumers at both ends of the spectrum. So on one hand, you have the few, the elite athletes, and that's, I think, where the revolution of Adidas running started a couple of years ago with our adizero line. But of course, the majority of the people is the many, right? The ones that run on a Saturday, run 2-3 times a week. And so our inspiration was, how do we serve better these type of athletes by leveraging what we learn on the adizero side? And I think you see a lot of that in what JT probably go into the details a little bit later on. How do we leverage the insights, the technologies, all the innovations that we brought on that, and to then adjust and cater them, adapt them for more the everyday runner.
Well, you know, this is a great looking shoe, but there's a lot that goes on within the shoe. And I think right now in the running shoe space, foams are probably the most important part. It's what creates that responsiveness. It's what helps keep shoes as light as possible. Can you tell us about the foam and how it might be different than some of the other daily trainers on the market?
Yeah, absolutely. So the foam Dreamstrike Plus and Supernova Rise, it represents bringing super foams into everyday training in a new way. Let me talk just for a second about how we got there and then the decision to why. As we fixated on the athletes that Patrick was talking about, not the elite athletes, but everyday normal runners, we started with a survey of our target consumer and who we wanted to build for and how we should be building shoes for them based on what they're asking for. And the results of surveying 1,300 women, specifically women runners, was that we needed to harmonize comfort and support together. Those were the things we were asked to balance, not just one thing, right? You can build comfort in a lot of overt different ways, but balancing comfort and support together. When we started with the thing that we wanted to answer in the end, it ends up being pretty easy to focus on how you want to do it. Thinking about comfort and support, you start to really naturally start to think about super foams and what they unlock, right? In racing, in this performance space, you don't use supercritical foams because they're comfortable, right? You use them because they're light and because they're great for energy. But we notice, you pay attention, they happen to be comfortable. So we start to think, can we bring in some of what we've been doing in the adizero space with Lightstrike Pro? Obviously, great material innovation. We're very confident about the things that the products on that platform have unlocked and been able to do on the feet of some of the world's best athletes and on people running for their own best times over the last couple of years. But we didn't want to just copy paste, right? We wanted to build the specific platform for the target consumer. So we asked our foams team to start with that, look at Lightstrike Pro, and then give us something that's tuned for the specific needs of everyday runners. Again, to answer back to the respondents of that survey. And what they came back with was something that's a little bit denser, just slightly denser than Lightstrike Pro. Slightly heavier means you're not as minimal as on race day. You don't need to quite eliminate everything. But coming back with just a little bit more heft to the material means that you have that balance of support. You end up balancing comfort and support. Still light, right? The overall shoe, the Supernova Rise, is 50 grams lighter than where we've been in this space previously. But just comparing Lightstrike Pro to Dreamstrike Plus, we're talking about just slightly tuning up for that touch of support.
Right, and you know, for your daily training needs, you don't need the lightest shoe. Sure, having a little bit bouncier PEBA-based foam makes a more fun experience, but at the end of the day, comfort is more important when you're logging the miles. Now, we also see though, when we talk about the adizero line and some of the super shoes, carbon plates, carbon rods. This shoe does not have that, but there is a little bit different setup. Can you tell us about how you got set with these rods and what it's gonna set itself apart?
Yeah, very, very, very happily. We're really enthusiastic to share this story and the idea of this. Like I said, going back to the same idea, harmonize comfort and support. That's what consumers asked us for. And we knew we wanted to bring a uniquely Adidas solution to the support part of that equation. Looking again at where we've been in elite performance and faster shoes with adizero and the rods story, we're thinking the same way, inspired by the same thing, human anatomy. If you think of our energy rods as something that are built like the bones of your foot, rigid structures that help push you forward, they provide propulsion to your foot. Support rods are more about support, not propulsion. So instead of thinking about the bones of your foot, you think about the tendons in your foot. Semi-pliable, kind of compliant structures that offer guidance and direction to the way that you move. And that's how we ended up with support rods. Right, a bottom-loaded system of a little bit denser foam. This is just a less compliant foam than the super foam in Dreamstrike Plus. So as you compress this, you get a little bit more just resistance here. They're small, relatively thin structures, but because of that resistance, you end up being able to tune where the support is on the shoe. You know, we go into this kind of longitudinal decoupling pattern, again, following that human anatomy, looking at the foot, and you get a support system that helps tune and attenuate the way that your foot rolls down and transitions through the gait cycle.
Yeah, and when we think about shoes on the Adizero line with carbon rods, again, that's gonna provide an even more stiff experience, maybe aid in propulsion. This is really about comfort. And I feel like those energy rods, you're maybe not gonna feel them. It's gonna be much more at one with the shoe and just feel effortless as you go through those miles.
Exactly right. The word I'll use over and over again is harmonize. Harmonizing comfort and support. It's providing support, but in a way that you shouldn't be aware of it. Honestly, the best review of an everyday trainer that I hear when someone puts a shoe on foot is, I started running and I wasn't aware of it, right? Like it's about everything kind of disappearing on foot and doing its job.
Well, that's what's below the foot, but now let's go, what's wrapping the shoe all together, the upper. Can you tell us about what materials are used and how you got set on this design?
Yeah, very happily. The upper on Supernova Rise is where you start to see how art and science come together. The technologies, the material technologies in the upper are the things that should be pretty familiar for everyday running shoes. An engineered sandwich mesh upper, right? This is a great way to balance support and breathability. You have a soft, comfortable material that can be engineered to target support, but opens up for breathability where you most need it. And then getting into the heel, we spent a lot of time on the specific, detailed construction of kind of old school shoemaking technologies, but built in an attentive way to make sure, again, in fit, you harmonize comfort and support. We've actually gone back to a stronger heel counter than where we've been in the everyday running space. Again, wanting to bring support into this, but also wanting to make sure that you never feel that support, it disappears, right? So the combination of the heel counter, the molded heel counter, and the foam packaging around the heel here so that you have comfort, support together, disappears, holds your foot well, locks down, but falls away. At the same time, we also did a totally new last development for Supernova Rise and the Supernova family behind it, concentrating on consumer feedback on our fit, making sure that we open up volume, especially with our toe box height, our ball girth, introducing a little bit more natural toe spring so that you have much more comfort in the fit of the shoe as well.
Well, I mean, we've talked about how this shoe can be used for the few, but also the many. Would you say that there's any consumer that this shoe isn't for? Will we see this on the pros training? Will we see this on just your normal everyday 5K runner going for a run on the weekend? Who is this shoe for?
I would say so. It's for everybody, right? Like everybody who wants to run, who wants their easy runs, who wants to just forget about it, whether they're doing it as part of their training routine or whether it's their meditative aspect of their running. It's meant for everybody, every day.
And I caught just a little hint of a Supernova family. Does that mean we will see more shoes in this line that will take this technology, take these philosophies, but maybe go down different avenues?
Yes, absolutely. So Supernova Rise is the beginning of a totally new chapter in the Supernova story. Supernova has always meant everyday running when we're at our best at Adidas. If you think about this story, the whole history of Supernova from 1997 forward, I think all of us who have been in this space have our favorite models from Supernova's past. Rise is the beginning of something new. We were resetting our approach to everyday running with the introduction of this model. This starts now on December 1st, but coming in February, we'll start to introduce a couple more models to round out the family, starting first and foremost with introducing a stability pairing with this shoe, right? Where Supernova Rise is our neutral everyday trainer. This will be complemented by Supernova Solution very soon, so you have a stability daily trainer as well.
Well, perfect. I mean, I'm excited to start racking up the miles in this shoe. Really one of the first PEBA-based daily trainers. It's an exciting time to be in the running space, and if you're looking to try out the adidas Supernova Rise yourself, it'll be available in December 2023 here at Running Warehouse.